Weather on the go, all your weather coverage. In today's video, we have a lot to discuss, including the threat for significant severe weather this weekend and the long range pattern, including the tropics at the end of this video. Before we get into the video, make sure you press the thumbs up button, the like button down below. It really helps out to get all this weather information to as many people as possible, especially with the threat of severe weather looming as we go into this upcoming weekend. So let's get into the weather forecast here. We have the visible satellite imagery this morning, and we saw a nasty complex of showers and storms pushing across the Missouri Valley down here and is now pushing into the western Ohio Valley as of this morning, producing more heavy rain and more severe weather. And it's all on the northeastern periphery of this upper level ridge that continues to rage down here across the southern plains, with the center of that ridge across North Texas and into southern portions of Oklahoma. As we go into this weekend, we're going to have a rather significant low pressure system or short wave moving over the top of this ridge, and that's going to flatten it out. It's still going to be hot down here, but it's going to push the center of that high pressure further west into the southern portions of the Four Corners region as we get into Saturday and Sunday this upcoming weekend. And let's look here at our current weather alerts across the country here this morning. We have dense fog advisories up here with some foggy conditions across Iowa, getting into southwestern Wisconsin and northwestern Illinois. This should expire by late morning, so make sure use plenty of caution up here, but it's all about the heat headlines further to the south across the lower and mid Mississippi Valley back into the southern plains. The orange areas, those are heat advisories. The purple areas, those are excessive heat warnings, and we even have red flag warnings down here from the Lawton, Oklahoma area down here into portions of the Abilene region and further south as well into central Texas. Those are for critical fire weather concerns as we go through the next 24 to 48 hours. Let's look at those high temperatures this afternoon. We're back into the triple digits across the southern plains here. We're into 106 territory there into Dallas, Fort Worth, 108 into Wichita Falls, 104 to 105 is our range here from Oklahoma City to Tulsa over to Fort Smith, Arkansas as we go into this afternoon. But over the top of the heat with the storms and the cloud cover, this will hold the temperatures down into the 70s and 80s this afternoon, and that will continue as we go into Friday. Much of the same with the heat continuing across the southern plains. This weekend, we are going to continue to see the heat across the same areas, but look to the north here across the northern plains up into the Dakotas region, Minnesota, the upper Midwestern areas here. We're getting down into the upper 70s to low 80s for highs on Saturday, and this is because of a stronger storm system that is moving through with a cold front, and that's going to drop that 80-degree line and even that 70-degree line further south on Sunday, and we're going to have a nice reprieve from the hot air across Kansas, Missouri, getting into southern Illinois here, perhaps even parts of Oklahoma and Arkansas getting in on some of those cooler temperatures, but we're still into the 90s, but definitely a welcome sight as we go into Sunday. But more triple digit heat will prevail across portions of Texas into Louisiana and Mississippi, and then in the desert southwest as we go into Sunday, August 6th. And over the top of that ridge, we always have to look for storm activity this time of year. We have an enhanced risk of severe weather. That's a level 3 out of 5 on the scale here. This covers portions of northeastern Colorado, southwestern Nebraska into northwest Kansas, and then down to the southeast off the northwest flow across the Dixie Alley region. We also do have portions of northern Alabama, southern Tennessee, northwestern Georgia within that slight risk, and then another smaller slight risk into upstate New York as well, with a chance for severe weather today. So busy, busy, busy across the United States, and we have to watch this enhanced risk later today because a mesoscale convective system could develop out of this and produce hurricane force winds across eastern Colorado, southwestern portions of Nebraska, and into northern Kansas And this would be wind gusts in excess of 74 miles per hour, as well as the large hail risk and possibly a few tornadoes. So, looking at the radar, what it could look like this afternoon, again, not verbatim, but definitely giving us a good idea of what the radar could look like. You can see isolated supercells trying to pop up here across the front range this afternoon, and then these will develop and grow upscale into a linear convective system or a mesoscale convective system that will race across portions of Nebraska, Kansas, and then getting down that northwest flow across portions of the Mid-South, producing those hurricane force wind gusts, large hail, and a few tornadoes getting through tonight and into early on your Friday morning. Then as we go into Friday, more of a marginal risk here from the Nebraska region, Kansas, down through portions of the southeast. A slight risk here looms across northeastern Pennsylvania, New York State, on up there into New England, with possibly some damaging winds and hail up there. But largely Friday, not that big of a deal for severe weather. I'm a little bit more concerned about this weekend system. So let's talk about this here a little bit more on this video. So on Saturday, this is your pressure anomaly here, and you see it's at a 1007 millibar low somewhere across central South Dakota here with the center of that low pressure system. But as it drags its way to the east, it's going to have a cold front attached to it. And it's also going to be intensifying fairly rapidly for this time of year. On Sunday the 6th, we can see it rapidly deepening to across northern Iowa, southern Minnesota here, according to the European forecast model, to a 1003 millibar low. Then on Monday, across the upper Great Lakes to the 996 millibar low. And then early next week on Tuesday, August 8th, as it moves into southeastern Canada, it could deepen all the way to a sub 990 millibar low at a 987 millibars. So it is going to be rapidly deepening as it pushes across this side of the country here. And this is concerning because this time of year, when you see a strengthening low pressure system, it always will scream severe weather, just how intense it will be. So looking here on Saturday, the Storm Prediction Center, as of this point, has a level 2 out of 5, a slight risk for severe weather across portions of western Iowa, eastern Nebraska, getting down through much of Kansas, and northwestern portions of Missouri. This covers the Des Moines region, Omaha, back here toward Lincoln, Nebraska, Topeka, Wichita, and also the Kansas City region. This will be likely for damaging winds and large hail, but a couple of isolated tornadoes will be possible, especially if we can get any supercells to develop here with that strengthening low pressure system. Then as we go into Sunday, that all pushes further east into the Midwest, into the southern Great Lakes region. So we're talking about La Crosse, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Chicago, Grand Rapids, over here to Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Louisville, St. Louis is in play, Springfield, Illinois. We're going to be watching this area. And then even further east we go on Monday, Buffalo, New York, Cleveland, down to Cincinnati again, Charleston, West Virginia, Philadelphia there, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., and even on the Pittsburgh region. We're going to continue to watch this as we go into Monday. So the fine details are not there yet for what we could see as we go deeper into the weekend on Sunday into Monday, but it is becoming more clear that damaging winds, large hail, and possibly some tornadoes will be occurring as a multi-day severe weather outbreak from the Midwest through the Mid-Atlantic will be possible from Saturday through Monday. So we'll keep you updated on that as we get more information. But look at the total rainfall accumulation now through Tuesday morning on August 8th here. You can clearly see where the strong low pressure system will be, folks. You can see the heavy rains across southeastern Montana, northeastern Wyoming, and then eastbound through especially South Dakota here, southern Minnesota, Wisconsin, and then through the Great Lakes region and into the northeast. A nice swath there of 1 to 3+ inches of rain. There could be some big winters in here that could get up to maybe a half a foot of rain if you see rainfall moving over the same area over and over again. And then we see more of that rain picking up across the Tennessee Valley into the southeast here as we go through the next few days as well, with more of that 1 to 3 inch rainfall amounts there. But you do notice some holes in the precipitation down here across Texas, parts of Louisiana, the Four Corners region, California, southern Nevada, and really the Pacific Northwest, especially up here into Washington State and Oregon. Very light rain, if any, across these areas because the ridge of high pressure will be winning continuing the battle down here with the heat. So the rainfall will not be occurring. In fact, we probably won't see many clouds across this region going through the next few days. Looking at the long range pattern here through the 12th of August. So this is getting into the second week in August here. We're going to continue to see that northerly and northwesterly flow over the top of that ridge up here, bringing below normal temperatures for early August across portions of the Rockies, the upper Midwest, and into the Great Lakes region. But that heat will continue for Arizona, for New Mexico, Texas, and then along the Gulf Coast on up into the Carolinas, including Florida through the second week in August. And that's where the precipitation will be, is over the top here across the northern Rockies, parts of the Pacific Northwest, and then diving southeast across the Great Plains into the mid-south here, and even parts of the eastern two-thirds of the country really remaining above normal through the August 12th timeframe. But underneath that ridge, just forget about the rain if you live in much of California, the Four Corners region, or South Texas. It's just not going to happen, folks, with below normal precipitation expected through the long range. And this is a little bit more concerning here. So the U.S. monthly drought outlook was released here just a few days ago here, released on July 31st. And you do see drought development likely. Look at most of the Lone Star State here in Texas, most of Louisiana, back into New Mexico, eastern portions of Arizona, a large area that is going to be developing rapid drought conditions over the next few weeks. And even parts of the Pacific Northwest seeing that as well with the lack of rainfall. But with all the rainfall over the top there across the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, even the upper Midwest, we're going to see the drought either persist or start to improve or even be removed across this region. So definitely some good news in this part of the country, but underneath we're still seeing that dry weather. And I just looked here at the soil moisture anomaly for today, and you do start to see we are starting to dry out more and more, especially down here into south central Texas, southern Louisiana, and starting to dry out more here into New Mexico and eastern Arizona. That's the area we're watching for rapid development of drought. Yeah, it's still dry across the Midwest, but we're working on that as we go over the next few days. Lots of rainfall moving in, so that should help this area as well with the developing drought. And you can see over the past few days since July 31st to now, or just yesterday, we saw a lot of rainfall across the Missouri Valley. So you can see positive anomalies here with the greens showing up. That is really starting to substantially help our drought situation in Missouri. I know we have severe, extreme, and even exceptional drought still hanging around. That is going to be going away in a big way over the next few days as we continue to see this rainfall pummel this region. And now turning to the tropical weather update here, very good news for the North Atlantic, the Caribbean, and the Gulf. The National Hurricane Center expects no new tropical cyclones over the next 7 days. So very quiet across this part of the world, but it's a different story in the Eastern Pacific. We're in an El Nino, so this is typically what we will be seeing. And we actually have a hurricane here, Hurricane Dora, and it's fairly healthy here, pretty compact system across the eastern Pacific Ocean right now. It's going to continue to travel westbound as a major hurricane through at least midday on Friday and remain at hurricane status as it undercuts Hawaii there to the south as we go into early next week. In fact, you can see that here. You zooming out the picture through the eastern Pacific. You have Hurricane Dora here and a new tropical wave moving off the Central Americas right near the Mexico coast here, and that's a new area of interest with a 70% chance of development over the next few days across that region. So we're going to continue to watch this for the Baja of California and near the coastline there of western Mexico because the waters are very warm here. So this is in degrees Celsius, but wherever you see really 26, 27 degrees Celsius or warmer, that's 80 degrees Fahrenheit or warmer water temperatures across the eastern Pacific. So that is concerning in itself. And you can see here, this is the European forecast model. There's Hurricane Dora at a 997 millibar low there. That's leaving North America. That's moving towards Hawaii here. and if anything, just south of Hawaii. This here is the area we're watching near the Mexico coast here on Friday. This is tomorrow. We see rapid development by Saturday, probably into Sunday morning as a 1009 millibar low. It remains slightly unclear how fast this system can develop. If it can develop quicker, a stronger solution will be possible with a stronger tropical storm. But if it takes its time and doesn't really develop much and we have wind shear hanging around here, which it does look like remains the case, then probably seeing a weaker system overall as a tropical depression or a weaker tropical storm as the European model shows. And then looking back at Dora, you can see the Hawaiian Islands right here. Lots of shear protecting us here. So that system is going to be going south, undercutting Hawaii well to the south early next week on Tuesday, August 8th. So that's some good news. But indirect impacts with wave heights out there and possibly some rainfall at times could be possible with this as it gets closer to Hawaii early and middle portion of next week. Well, make sure if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel here, be sure to subscribe for detailed weather breakdowns on North America, including southern Canada, the United States, and the tropics on this channel. I do update very frequently throughout the week, almost every single day. And if you want even more additional weather forecast updates, hit the description down below the video and you can find the link to Twitter at hweather420. I do update on that platform very frequently as well. Otherwise, thank you folks so much for watching today's video as always, and I hope everybody has a great rest of their Thursday out there.